Hello, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to do another ship breakdown. But today, we have our most powerful ship yet. Unless you think the Malevolent was stronger, let me know down below. But this video will all be on the Executor Class Super Star Destroyer, or SSD. Now this may ring a bell to you, because none other than Lord Vader has control over his very own Executor. So anyways, without further ado, let's begin. The Executor, as many of you may know, is one of the largest and most powerful Imperial ships ever made, in canon at least. It was whopping 19,000 meters long and carried around 5,000 turbo lasers and ion cannons. So yeah, this thing could pack a punch. This beast was manufactured by the Kuwait drive yards, and yes, I finally pronounced it right. Make sure to let me know down below. I was pronouncing it Kuwait this whole time, so yeah, that didn't make sense, but back to it. As well as the Kuwait drive yards, it was also built in the Fondor shipping yards, and it usually costed around 325 billion credits.
Might as well buy a new ship. It would be cheaper, I think, huh? Saying of which, how's they gonna pay for all of this?
I have 20,000 Republic dactaries.
Republic credits? Republic credits are no good out here. I need something more real.
I don't have anything else, but credits will do fine.
No, they won't.
So yeah, it definitely wasn't cheap. The Empire did manage to make quite a lot of them. The Executor had an 1,000 ship complement within the ship, with TIE bombers, fighters, interceptors, as well as dropships, shuttles, and various other ships, which in my opinion is actually really interesting. Because when I usually think of Imperial capital ships, they do tend to have very little variation in mass ship types. Those spots are usually filled with TIEs, shuttles, and some bombers. And if it's a big enough ship, maybe some walkers and AT-ATs. But to be fair, this ship has enough room, so yeah. As well as a lot of ships, the Executor boasted a crew of over 280,000, with a majority being some of the best and brightest officers and troopers the Empire could muster, usually due to its high-ranking officers leading the ship. Now, getting away from all these technical terms, I know some of you do like them, let's talk about the origins of this ship and what battles it was present at, and I think we all know some. So, the Executor was pushed to be created very heavily by Darth Vader and was intended to take place of the Annihilator as the main flagship for the highest of ranking officers in the Empire. Originally, it was all built on the Kuwait drive yards, and then it expanded to Fondor. And fortunately for Vader, of course, this is what ended up happening, and the Executor became the main capital ship for the Death Squadron. And yes, this is all from canon. The legend's creation of the ship dates back all the way back to the Clone Wars, where it was initially designed by Lyra Wessex, who, she might ring a bell if you've watched some of my videos, because she also designed the Gladiator Star Destroyer, which I mentioned in one of my other videos. So that's really impressive, as well as the Venator. So yeah, pretty big one. In my opinion, she needs to be spoken more in canon, because she's literally created, in Legends at least, all these crazy capital ships like the Venator and Gladiator. Check out that video if you haven't yet for mine. Her father is a high-ranking official too. Anyways, all that out of the way, I'm going to be going over the two main battles it was at. So let's begin with Endor. So of course the Battle of Endor in 4 ABY, the Executor was still under leadership by Admiral Piet during the entire Battle of Endor, and I hope I pronounced his name right. I'm sick of mispronouncing stuff. And it served as a flagship for an Imperial fleet of Star Destroyers that assembled at the remote forest moon of Endor, where the Empire's new superweapon, the second Death Star of course, was under construction. The Executor stood guard over Endor, taking clearance requests from any starships that entered the system. And you may know where I'm going with this. When the Lambda-class T-4A shuttle Tidarium arrived in the system, the Executor reached out for its code clearance, to which it received an older, but still, of course, valid code. Just as Piet was going to allow the shuttle a chance to pass, Vader asked for more information on its destination after sensing there was more to the ship. The shuttle had actually been stolen by the Rebel Alliance and is transporting a strike team. Among its members, of course, Luke Skywalker, all the way down to Endor's surface. While Piet was willing to hold the Tidarium, Vader let the ship pass to deal with the matter personally, which I think we all have seen in the movie. So yeah, that's a pretty famous moment most know, and is cool because it showed Vader's lack of tactical knowledge. I'm just kidding. he had a quite expansive one. But if the Executor just fired a shot at the freaking shuttle, or they asked more questions to do that, then Luke would have been dealt with, and let's just say, the Empire would still have its Emperor and Lord Vader. we can't get stuck on its ifs and buts. Of course, it wouldn't happen with Disney and Lucasfilm. Anyways, the Executor was vital to the defense of its ships at Endor, and when the Rebels' main fleet repositioned to go on the offensive towards the so far incomplete Death Star, the Executor, led by Admiral Piet, was repositioned to defend. But Sidious decided to halt the Super Star Destroyer from firing and decided to show the Rebels the new laser, because Palpy loves his big lasers. But sadly enough, if you've seen the movie, we know that Piet's Executor was indeed destroyed in this fight by the Rebellion, even after Admiral Sloane attempted to protect it. Of course, Admiral Sloane, many of you may know. But of course, that's not the only Executor in the Empire's fleet, so let's move back and take a look at Hoth and how the Super Star Destroyer Executor classes were handling the situation out there. Okay, so just to let you know, this next section will all be from Legends, by the way, so not from canon, but anyways. So, Vader and his team aboard his Executor sent a Viper droid to the planet's surface, which was vital to the Empire in sending strategic information to Vader about Echo Base, which is the main Rebel operations base on Hoth that we see in The Empire Strikes Back. Now, this sent a lot of things back to Vader and his crew on the Executor, like troop movements and positions, artillery emplacements, and even the size, model, and location of the base's V-150 anti-orbital ion cannon, which is the massive cannons we see on the Rebel base on Hoth. So yeah, you could say it was pretty beneficial to them. Now, if you watch The Empire Strikes Back, you'll probably be wondering why the Empire did not just planetary bombard Hoth's surface with the help of its Executors to swiftly take out Echo Base, and majorly hurt the Rebellion and put a stop to a lot of their operations. Well, the Rebels can thank a little person named Kendall Ozzel. Ozzel was aboard Vader's Executor SSD, and he was basically the person relaying orders to the crew from Vader, just a figurehead. So when the Executor got note that they were to attack Hoth and Echo Base, they jumped to hyperspace to arrive. Okay, and a quick debrief. Usually Imperial naval tactics instruct incoming ships to exit hyperspace a decent length away from the chosen planet, as of course not to be detected. But what Ozzel did was jump and exit directly over the planet's surface, which is what we see in the movie, because he wanted to stick it to Vader because they had been butting heads for a long while now. This, of course, alerted the Rebellion and was a massive, costly mistake, giving the Rebellion ample time to raise their planetary shields and destroy the Empire's chance at orbital bombardment. As you can probably guess, Ozzel was not sticking around for much longer in the life, and brought in our old friend Admiral Piet, not really old for the video, to lead the SSD from then on. So yeah, that was the basic overview of the Executor class SSD or Super Star Destroyer. If you have any thoughts, please leave them down below. But other than that, thank you for watching, and make sure to go check out my other Star Wars videos if you want, or the Gladiator video. And a subscribe would be much appreciated. Other than that, goodbye.